AI is a fast-changing field, so it's important to keep up with the current state of ethics, which will change because the technology keeps changing. So here I'm going to ask Gemini, which is a generative AI model from Google, what the current state is of ethical considerations for artificial intelligence. So let's frame that question. I'll say, what are the current considerations? We'll just keep it loose and say for ethics in AI, and see what Gemini comes up with. But then, of course, we can refine our question if we want to find some more specific information. But let's see what we get here first. AI is becoming increasingly powerful and integrated into our lives. We all know that. There are a number of ethical issues that are being actively debated. And so this is what we kind of want to keep on top of. So while we can look at the traditional ethical challenges in any field, with AI, the speed at which it is currently changing and evolving is going to bring forth new ethical considerations on a continual basis. And so keeping abreast of the changes to the state of considerations and challenges in ethics that we want to look at is going to be important as you are creating AI-enabled tools and technologies, or even evaluating AI technologies for use within your organization. So a number of ethical issues that are being actively debated. Here are some of the top considerations. So let's review these. Bias and discrimination. So that is a consideration that has been around not only in terms of AI, but for online content in general. And we've talked about it some in social media intelligence. AI systems are trained on data sets that can reflect societal biases leading to discriminatory outcomes. So remember the old adage of programming, garbage in, garbage out. And that holds true here. So when you train an AI model on a particular data set, that model learns based on that data set. So if that data set includes content that you do not want the model to repeat or give back as a response, then that content shouldn't be included in the data set. But of course, as AI models are trained on using a lot of general data and data across the web, then sometimes we end up with responses from AI models that are inappropriate, that we or otherwise don't want the AI model to be sharing. So an AI algorithm used in hiring, for example, might favor resumes with certain keywords that correlate with race or gender. Researchers are working on ways to mitigate these biases in AI development. We follow this link and see what Gemini came up with. A research paper published in 2024, so we got some nice recent information. Perpetuation of gender bias in visual representation of professions in the generative AI tools, DALL-E and Bing image creators. So there's been a lot in the media of image creators generating images that are inappropriate or otherwise biased. Another consideration is transparency and explainability. Many AI systems are like black boxes. It can be difficult to understand how they arrive at their decisions. This lack of transparency can make it hard to trust AI and identify potential problems. And there is ongoing research in this area as well, making AI more interpretable. We'll follow that link, which is pointing to a Towards Data Science article. Explainable artificial intelligence. So this is an article on Medium. Sometimes Medium articles are publicly available, sometimes they are not. Keep in mind when you're reading articles, there's peer-reviewed journals and then there's self-published articles. Medium is a self-published space, And this is a member-only story. So I do not have a Medium account that I want to sign into right now, so I would need to sign into my account to read this story. And it's interesting to me that Gemini would post a link to a members-only story versus one that is publicly available, but it could be that the model was just looking at the title of the article, and so that goes back to transparency and explainability. Why did this generative AI model choose this link to describe the transparency and explainability problem when the general public cannot necessarily access the content in that link? I believe that is a nice case of the problem identifying itself. Privacy is another consideration. AI systems often require a lot of data to function. When you think about large language models, those models, large is the key word there, they are trained on a large amount of data. And sometimes the data can be personal. So there's a privacy concern whenever AI models are trained on data that is personal in nature or contains personally identifiable information. There are concerns about how the data is collected, stored, and used, all valid concerns. As an example, Gemini presents AI-powered facial recognition technology, which is raising privacy concerns as it can be used for extensive surveillance. A link to a LinkedIn article, How AI Forcing Tech Sector Reflect Ethics. Let's look at this article. And remember, before you click on a link, look at the actual URL that you're going to. I think this video might be cutting it off here, but always look to the actual URL before clicking on a link to make sure that you are going where you believe to be going. And this article does open up in LinkedIn. I like the image there. It's a nice image they chose for their article. How AI is forcing the tech sector to reflect on ethics. I have not read this article, but it does look interesting to me, so I will go back and read that later. So that was a nice link AI provided. In fact, if you are interested, I'm going to go ahead and copy all of these links so that I can paste them along with the video when I paste this video for you, so you will have access to the links. So don't worry if you're trying to get these links yourself now. I will paste them for you along with this video. Copy that one. All right, the next topic is job displacement. As AI gets more sophisticated, there are worries that it will automate many jobs currently done by humans, which could lead to unemployment and economic disruption. Now, I believe this to be true. AI will replace many jobs. However, it will not replace them in its entirety. Humans will still have a role to play. And in fact, as humans learn to evolve with AI, we'll learn to work on our jobs together, as I'm doing right now. I'm using AI to facilitate my job and helping me very quickly pull together some current information on ethics in AI that I can then present to my students. So I'm using AI as a tool just as I would any other tool. For instance, if I did not have Gemini for this task, I probably would have gone to a search engine and searched for this topic and found some data and presented it that way. And so here I'm using AI as a tool just as you would use search engine as a tool, just as I'm currently using a computer as a tool. I'm using a microphone, I'm using a keyboard, I'm using a mouse. All of these things are tools that aid us in our jobs, and AI has just become another tool, although you do hear quite a bit in media that people are concerned about AI replacing jobs. And you can look back to manufacturing and industry. This is not a new phenomenon. This has happened before. Assembly lines did replace workers. Robotic assembly lines replaced human workers to some extent, but that didn't really replace the human worker rather than evolve the human worker's role. And personally, I believe that allowing computers to do what they do best, allowing AI to do what it does best, takes a lot of the tediousness out of our jobs and allowing humans the freedom to work on more interesting aspects of their job. So there's going to be a lot of arguments back and forth. That's in hot debate right now, the job displacement. But it is a real thing to be concerned about and something to engage about. And then accountability. If an AI system makes a mistake, who is responsible? This is a complex question that does need to be addressed as AI takes on more important tasks, and that is quite true. In fact, I would not specifically use AI for a critical task for this very reason. If you need to be accountable for something, then you want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence and doing that work yourself, while AI can still be used to help guide you as you complete your work or your research. Other ethical considerations, such as the potential for AI to be used for autonomous weapons or manipulate people through social media. We see manipulation already happening in social media, whether or not it's AI-based. That is something that is currently happening. The autonomous weapons concern, that's also a real concern. If you do some research on the topic yourself, you will find some publicly available information about this type of research activity that's ongoing, but one would hope that some care would be taken in creating such things. Overall, there's a growing consensus that we need to develop AI in a way that is ethical and beneficial to society, and I believe this is true as well, especially within the research communities. There is the consensus that we do need to maintain ethical standards and ensure that our creations are beneficial to society and do not cause harm. And this will require collaboration between researchers, policymakers, and the public. The source of this information, so this is Gemini being transparent. I will copy this link for you as well. And I appreciate Gemini being transparent in providing the source of this content. So remember that when you use generative AI, it is up to you to be transparent in your use of the technology. And if you use it to aid in, or assist in any way with your writing in this class or anywhere else, you cite it like you would cite any other source of information. And be sure that you are being true to yourself and your own ethics. When you present your work, you are not plagiarizing. You are stating clearly where you use generative AI as a resource to help with your work, and cite it properly as you would any other resource. I hope you enjoyed this little talk with Dr. Farley and Gemini, and I will be sure to post these links with the presentation.